So I'm going to ask you to do me a favor
Okay.
and break down your day into percentages of 24 hours, or break it down into hours
Okay.
of basically how you spend your day. Now, before you do that, or while you're doing it, I want you to think about it in your head while I tell you about Annie.
Okay.
Now, according to Medium.com, Annie is a 37-year-old white, non-Hispanic woman who is 5'4" and weighs 169 pounds. She earned her high school diploma and attended some college but did not earn a degree. She wakes up between 6 and 7 a.m. and commutes 26 minutes to work, where she works 34 hours a week in a doctor's office as a receptionist or physician's assistant.
Okay.
Annie is married and lives with her husband in an urban area. They own their home, which was built in the 1970s and is worth around $140,000. Their monthly housing costs include a mortgage, including their mortgage, are just over $1,500, $1,515 a month. And they currently have about $135,000 in debt. This includes a mortgage, student loans, car loans, and credit card debt. Annie and her husband's total annual household income is $57,652.
Okay.
And they have about $45,000 in retirement savings. However, they do not have $1,000 in savings to cover an emergency expense. Annie does not exercise regularly. She does watch 4.7 hours of TV per day and spends about 2 hours on social media. Annie has 11 alcoholic drinks per week. That's roughly 1.5 a day, and reads about 4 books a year. She identifies as a political independent, but tends to vote Democratic. Her and her husband consider themselves Christians. Finally, Annie is pro-choice and supports the death penalty, same-sex marriage, and the legalization of cannabis. Perhaps most relatably, she also believes that she is smarter than the average American. Nothing in Annie's life is too shocking, which isn't surprising because, after all, she's average.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how does your life compare to the average American? Again, this is Medium.com, and the question is, how does your life compare to the average American in 2019?
So that was 2019?
But realistically, how did it compare in 2019 to how it compares today in 2023?
Okay.
So now, do me a favor and break down your day in percentages or hours. All right, I'll help you out.
Okay.
You can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I've got 8 hours of sleep, and that's being generous.
That is being generous.
Let's make this an average for everybody, okay?
Okay.
Most people,
Okay.
most.
Okay.
1 hour a day for dressing and undressing. Start and finishing the day, basically. Getting ready for the day and getting ready to go to sleep.
bed.
So we got an hour there.
Okay.
We got 2 hours commuting to and from work, if you're lucky.
Yes.
2 hours.
Depending on where you live, could be 2 hours there, 2 hours back.
8 hours, and yeah, I knew a lot of people years ago. The commute was to Atlanta. Mm-hmm. It was Bethlehem to Atlanta.
So you're leaving at 5:30 a.m. to hope to make it to your office door by 8 a.m.
It was Statham to Atlanta. It was areas that had far more affordable housing options and larger lot sizes.
But
while still having the ability to make the income in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And that was definitely 2 hours.
But the trade-off for that larger lot and affordable house was the extra time in your vehicle to get to work to pay for that lot and house.
And most of these people had really nice cars.
Yes.
That made sense.
Yes.
Not only for the comfort, but theoretically the newness and the reliability to make that commute.
Yeah, because you don't want to be driving around an old junker that's going to shut down on the side of the freeway.
or be very, very inefficient fuel economy wise. Now, we also have 8 hours for working, but I even put a note here that I worked at least 10.
Yes, you did.
At least 10, technically it was 7 to 5, but I really worked from like 6 to 5 because...
You would get there early to beat the traffic.
I get there early to like try to protect my sanity.
Yeah.
There's nothing like sitting through traffic and then jumping into work.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely awful. That's why I used to go in early too.
Was no traffic and like ease into it.
Mine was, I didn't have traffic on the way in most of the time, but I'd still go in 30 minutes early just to literally sit and drink coffee before everything went absolutely haywire.
Now I got another hour and a half here for cooking and eating, meal prep, grocery shopping. Now this is collectively on average.
Okay.
So you're not going to go grocery shopping every day.
And a lot of married people, half of them aren't going to do that while the other half does.
And then some days you have leftovers or whatever. But I do know some people that do shop every day. And they live in super urban areas. Yes. They're going to go to fresh market. They're going to go to Whole Foods. They're going to go
down below their apartment kind of thing, yeah.
They're going to go farm to table or not. Well, it's not farm to, your table. Because they like have prepackaged meals or they even do HelloFresh, you know?
A lot of people will do those.
So yeah. So that's the total that I've got. I've even got
excuse me,
a non-quantified value here for scrolling through TikTok, scrolling through Instagram, scrolling through Facebook or YouTube. And the reason why I didn't put a value on that, I gave it no time, is because this usually gets lumped into work time or toilet time or potty time.
Or commute time.
Yeah.
Sitting in traffic just...
I don't give it its own time because I'm going to lump that into some other time and you're kind of doing it at the same time.
Yeah. It's multitasking, if you will.
However, if we didn't, you can see where we would end up, all right? So just a quick recap. 8 hours to sleep, 1 hour to get ready, 2 hours to commute, 8 hours to work, hour and a half to cook and eat, and that leaves 3.5 hours left in the day. 3.5. 3.5 hours. What do you do? Or
well, if
what
you're
do
Annie, you watch TV.
Most people do in the 3.5 hours you have left?
Probably most people, something unproductive. Honestly, I would say some will go work out, some will go to the gym, some will play with their kids, some will spend quality time with their spouse, some will go read a book, some will clean the house because cleaning has to happen in there too. But I'm gonna say the majority of people are gonna sit around and watch TV or YouTube or something.
At the same time, again, you can multitask, so you can watch TV while you cook.
That's what I do.
You know?
Well, I have it in the background. I listen while I cook.
But what's really missing?
Making more money.
Are you skipping ahead of my slides again?
No, I just assumed that's what it was going to be because that, to me, that's what, if you've got free time and you're not spending it on yourself or your family, you should be spending it in a way to make more money.
But where is there time for the most important part of the day or night, depending? And if you want to add in coitus to the mix, then we can say about another, 15 to 30 minutes.
Yeah, let's be realistic here.
Being generous.
Yeah, I was about to say, if you have kids, 5 to 10.
But some of us will swear it lasts for hours.
God, no. Please, no. I don't know any woman that really wants it to last for hours. I'm just saying.
One of the Kardashians, she
Bullshit.
made that comment.
BS.
Because she's on IVF.
That's Courtney.
IVF?
Yeah, it's Courtney.
No, the other one. The other one. Oh, wait.
No, Courtney, the one that just married Travis Barker?
Yeah.
No, it's her.
I don't know which one's which. If you said Travis, I was like, I got it. All right, but either way, you really got like 3 hours to yourself. Just for you. Every day, what do you do?
Here's the thing, and I'm just going to jump in here as a mom and a wife. You never have 3 hours for yourself in a day. In theory, it sounds good, but you're always a mom, and there's always that, and you're always a wife, and there's always that. So there's always something that you're doing for somebody else. There's very little for you time. especially if you happen to be a stay-at-home mom and housewife or anything like that. Just a thing.
You sound like me.
Yeah.
Remember that exercise? We were asked to break down our day in percentages. And they were like, how much time do you spend doing this, that, and the other? I said, well, the lady got real mad at me when she saw my figures. I said, she goes, well, how does your day break down? I said, it breaks down to roughly 553%. She's like, it can't.
It can't.
I was like, well, I'm a husband 100% of the time. I'm a dad 100% of the time. I'm a business owner 100% of the time. That's 300% right there.
Yeah. None of that ever stops.
Now, this video we put up on the other channel when we went to Fargo and we stayed in that 1950s bungalow.
I think my system doesn't like rosemary. Whatever was on those potatoes, it doesn't like it.
When we go back there and tell them not to do that no more? Want some water?
I'm trying to drink the coffee.
Chug it.
Sorry, guys.
Hot coffee will soothe your throat or cause some serious internal burning.
Yeah, it's not
really
hot
sure.
anymore. It's lukewarm.
So this comment on this video from Squirrel Tribe Life, where we stayed in this house in Fargo.
Loved that house.
It said, and you need to go look at the old pictures from before they renovated.
Yeah, I do.
But it says that this comment was amazing. The comment said, "You'll watch an entire Netflix show, even when the first episodes are slow and boring, just because someone told you it gets better." But what if you looked at your goals like that and you watched your life get better instead?
Yeah.
You could tell people, and obviously some people subscribe to it. Hey, go to college, get a degree. It'll be worthwhile. And that's a commitment. Now, I got my own opinions on college and college degrees, and how valuable they'll be in the future, but I'm going to save that for another video. If you guys are interested, you know what to do. But it's funny that you could tell somebody to watch a show and it's worth it, and they'll spend hours binging, maybe even to get through a first season, because season 2 is way better. But you got to watch season 1 to get season 2. Whereas if you said, hey, you know what? If you just spent 30 minutes a day working on yourself, working on your life for it to get better, for it to improve, most people wouldn't do it.
Well, the other thing is, why Netflix has a TV series that all the episodes come out at once? People said, I don't have time to watch a 2-hour movie. Okay, cool. We'll turn this, what could have been a movie, into 4 30-minute episodes. They're going to watch all 4 right away because they're all up there at the same time. So they did have 2 hours, but they looked at it differently. They looked at it as 4 different things.
I need you to spend 50 hours doing something. I ain't got 50 hours. All right, well, I just need you to work 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Cool. Exactly.
Same thing.
Exactly. It comes down to the same thing.
But what it really comes down to is people have been brainwashed into believing, or at least not being encouraged and motivated to think that this can get better.
Well,
you can be better.
Well, it's like, hey, here's some free online classes and how to learn how to do this. Insert whatever here, like grow a garden, raise some chickens, do stock market, start a business, however you want to phrase it, whatever would technically interest you. Somebody goes, here's a free course. It only takes an hour a day. And you go, I don't have that kind of time. As you turn away from that and turn on Keeping Up with the Kardashians, turn on HGTV, turn on Netflix, and watch it for 2 or 3 hours. What people really want to say is, I don't want to take the time to invest in myself because I'm worried it's not going to be worth it. I'm worried it's not going to pan out. I'd much rather shut off reality and go watch this and pay attention to this and not have to think about what's going on in life. That's really what it comes down to.
It makes a lot of sense. You watch a show, it has no bearing or impact on your life.
None.
And in fact, you can then have an opinion and judge others and gossip and, chat about it with your friends.
Yeah.
However, if you were to then take that time to invest in yourself, And for instance, let's just say it doesn't pan out the way you had expected or in the time frame you expected, then you feel personally let down,
Yeah.
like a failure,
Yeah.
then discouraged.
Yep.
But the biggest failures for me produce the greatest success in the long term.
Yep.
And then future success is, in my opinion,
Mean more.
able to be achieved faster and easier with less hurdles because of all the previous failures.
Yeah.
Now, this is the closest that I could find from 2019
Okay.
that gave some insight into the daily schedule and day-to-day or day in the life of the average American from 2019.
Okay.
And this is from medium.com.
Okay.
And this is the story about Annie. And she's 37, white, non-Hispanic, who's 5'4", weighs 169 pounds. They give you all this background and this detail.
So that you feel more relatable.
Okay.
The average female is between 5'4" and 5'6", right? And right now the average American weight is considered overweight at 150 to 180 depending on your height. The average American is considered overweight. And the average American probably works a certain amount of time a day. So they've averaged her out pretty well there. In everything they've said about her, you can find something that is along the lines for you so that you're more interested in what this story is.
Okay. All right. Makes sense. Now, I would assume Medium was a U.S. publication.
I would assume it was not.
Really?
Based off the information they gave on Annie, I would assume they were not an American one.
Because they describe an American, because they talk about pro-choice, death penalty, same-sex marriage, legalization of cannabis, and Medium. I'd have to look up Medium and see if there's any indication of where they're based out of.
I feel like they're going to be not here, but that's just me.
They could be international. They could be outsourcing this content all over the world.
Because the way they said it, the way they described Annie, was to drive home the point that she's a super Democrat.
Ooh. Well, then no.
So then it could be a far right, or a right, or a Republican.
Unless you
kind of
want to
thing.
drive home the point that she's a super average American, and whatever country is from we're better than them.
Well, because they believe that every American is pro-choice and death penalty and all that. Yeah. Maybe.
That was like Ashton Kutcher and Brittany Murphy when they went
The honeymoon
to yeah.
Yeah.
And then the girl, or he finds the American bar in whatever country they're in.
Yeah. I thought it was like France, but I don't think it was.
Their depiction of America was hilarious. However, Daily Mail, this one's Daily Mail UK.
I was about to say, that one's definitely from the UK.
This one is from just last month.
Okay.
Eat, work, sleep, repeat.
Sounds accurate to most people.
Scientists reveal what the average person day looks like. So does it sound familiar to you? Eat, work, sleep, and repeat can often become a mantra for city dwellers in the rat race. But you may be shocked to know the average human spends most of their time doing things that they enjoy, despite working 41 hours each week.
Who did they talk to?
Researchers at Canada's McGill University have revealed what a normal day looks like for humans across 58 countries.
So they're averaging out.
It found that 3.4 hours are spent making, cultivating, and taking care of stuff every day, while 2.5 hours are spent on hygiene.
Hygiene also being part of, I would think hygiene includes the, working out, includes the taking the shower, the getting ready, possibly even washing of the clothes and things, because that's a hygiene kind of thing.
It says here, we found that the single largest chunk of time is really focused on humans ourselves, a little more than 9 hours, explained the study's author Eric Galbraith.
Well, they must be adding sleep in as part of the focused on ourselves.
Got 9 hours for sleep. A little chart here. I had to call them back. Oh, they'll leave a message.
They'll leave a message.
I left a message for them. They'll leave a message for me. Concierge at the next hotel. I had to see if we can forward some packages to them. But here's the little chart that they got broken down here. I don't know if the color contrast will actually pick that up, but 6.5 hours is for hanging out, watching TV, socializing, and doing sports. 2.5 hours is hygiene, grooming, and taking care of our health. 9 hours is sleeping. 3.4 hours is making, cultivating, and taking care of our stuff. Or taking care of stuff. And 2.6 hours is work.
So I don't know who did this because that doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
I don't know what countries, what 58 countries they.
Well, I can no longer trust the Daily Mail for information.
That said, you know, 2.6 hours for work.
Now, if this was from last month and they're talking about everybody who is work from home, who's supposed to be working 8 hours, so they're really only 2.6 hours.
We only actually put in we clock in for 8 to 10, but we only put in about 2.6.
Yeah, that got cold fast.
But really, do you know what's missing? The most important time of the day? And no, worship and praise goes without saying. Besides that, do you know what's missing?
Family time?
Time for you. Time to invest in you. Growth for you, your family, your business, your career, your education, your family, your personal relationships, your health, your life. And not someone else's, i.e. boss or employer. Pay yourself first.
Always.
And I do this every day. Every day when I wake up and every night before I go to sleep, my focus, unapologetically, is me. Manifesting success, planning and preparing strategies for the continuation of building a better future for us. Motivating myself and you and the kid and others in the process. Even if you work for someone else, there needs to be ample time to be able to devote to your life and your personal positive growth no matter what. And if that time is spent scrolling through mind-numbing social media, that will ultimately drain your pockets and empty your bank account while keeping you locked in, trapped in the rat race of just barely getting by and ultimately only waiting for and hoping for a miracle to happen. Then maybe, for some, it's time that you stop scrolling. That's not going to be for everybody.
No. I have some thoughts, but... Put
down your smartphone, tablet, or whatever device it is that's locking you in and continuously keeping you a slave to the system. And look yourself in the mirror and tell yourself with sincere conviction that you are done. You quit. It's over. And you take the steps necessary to build a plan, strategy, and take action to be exactly who you want to be. And be great. They don't want you to know that.
No, there's also other things they don't want you to know, but we can talk about that on a different video if you'd like.
What are your opinions?
My opinion is that there's too many people out there in Annie's situation who, when they get home from work and get done dealing with the kids and taking care of the home and whatever, that instead of working on themselves or working on their marriage, they jump into mind-numbing TV and scrolling and stuff. And what's going on is you see less and less tight-knit families. You see less and less kids and parents who have close relationships. You see more and more like separation and families that are more like roommates and things like that. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that a lot of people think the me time is when they're sitting there scrolling on their phone. And that's their downtime. Whereas what it should be is, sure, give yourself a couple minutes to do that if you want, but your me time literally needs to be focused on you and, in my opinion, your spouse and your kids to maintain those relationships. If there is one. If there's not, I know that's different, but there's too many things. We know people who, instead of, at the end of the day, coming together to work on maintaining relationships,
growing, building,
they stay separated and focus only on themselves. Like there's so many different.
Sometimes you may need that too.
Yes.
You may need that too, but at the end of the day, it needs to be focused on progression.
Yeah.
And you made a really good point. And this time that people are theoretically wasting, scrolling, spending, consuming, dreaming, planning purchases and credit card expenses that they can't afford based on marketing and advertising. It's okay though, because technically that's their getaway. That's their vacation. You know, that is their fun after a day of just no fun, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the quick and fastest and easiest and simplest way to get that that dopamine, you know, release.
Well, maybe that's for me. Like in the mornings, you like to wake up and jump on the computer and start looking at stuff for, you know, the day. And I like to get a book and read and drink coffee. That's my...
And my schedule is my schedule. Your schedule is your schedule. But if your schedule doesn't include at any point in the day working on you and working on building and growing, then you will ultimately end up like Annie and being average. Your employer is going to keep you there. They're going to force you down. They're never going to tell you that you could be better.
Yeah.
Even if they tell you that you could be better, not realizing that that can make you a better employee for them, they don't want to give you that motivation.
No.
And odds are most employers and management don't have that leadership training or leadership trait anyway.
They just had a piece of paper that said they...
And they're afraid. They're afraid. They're scared of what you could be, which could potentially be better than them. But like I said, they don't want you to know that. Speaking of things they don't want you to know, we watched a movie last night, part 1 of 2. I'm not going to give away any spoilers, but it was a really good movie.
It was a really good movie.
It was a really good movie. It was eye-opening.
Yes.
It was
exact words I was going to use.
It was frightening.
Especially when you think about when it had to have been written to be made to be released today.
And what they know and what they're allowed to share and put out in Hollywood. And people may say what they want to say, but is being in the world of Scientology like a door open to greater knowledge of
What's happening? Anything's possible.